This is quite a dramatic change from my normal venue of modeling. I'm painting in my bathroom, in case you're wondering. I find it's the best place for painting, in my opinion, because you have a running source of water, and you usually have a readily available source of stuff to wipe your brushes on, namely toilet paper. I wouldn't worry too much about that unless you use something that's unusually soft or anything like that. So let's get to painting this, shall we? What paints do I want to use? Well, I know I want to use black, white, and let's see, what else? A little bit of silver and aluminum. There is a difference, by the way, between those. And definitely some red. Now, this is definitely a bland color combination, but think about this. This is the Imperials we're talking about. They're not exactly known for their flaring artistic abilities. So let's get some brushes here. Got a nice cup full of them here. And I want to choose a brush that's got a fine tip to it, but which also has a long head, long bristles. There we go. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's one. Now I also want a wide head brush. That's two. And a blunt brush. That's three. Now I want to make mention before I forget that it doesn't really matter if you use gloss or flat paints for this, or anything else for that matter, because you have clear gloss and clear flat if you want to add a flat or glossy finish to whatever it is you're painting. The only time it really makes a difference is whenever you are painting metallics. Metallics cannot be coated with anything, because if you do, it won't look like metal. It'll look like shellacked metal, basically. Either that or it'll have a pearlescent finish. Now for the cockpit here, I'm going to start with the chair. The chair has some console on it. I say that it has some little buttons and things all over it, and it's a good start for. It's a good place to start with the detail painting once I get to that. So I'm going to paint it first, so that the paint has had time to dry before I start painting it. Before I start painting the details. Brush painting, by the way, is easy. It's the first thing you ever learn how to do when you're painting a model, is learn how to use the brush. And there's lots of different techniques that you can do with a brush. One thing you got to remember, though, is you want to go with the detail. Paint in the direction of the details. Unless you can't, like if it's bumpy or something like that. And try to keep your brush fairly loaded whenever you're painting. Don't let your brush get too dry as you're doing this, because you may end up dry brushing. That's okay when you're going to detail something, but you want to have it'll also give your paint an uneven texture if you do that. Okay, almost got it done. Trying to get a little bit of black around the areas that are going to be visible, except for these areas back here. I want to leave those a little bit gray so that the red that's going to be projecting from these little things here will spread around more evenly. And I've already painted this, I know, but in order to give this a consistent look, I'm going to repaint it. Don't worry too much about, you know, am I going to am I just wasting time here? No, I'm not wasting time because I want a consistent look to everything. And brush painting, and well, not brush painting, but repainting everything does that. Alright, got all that black in there, and I think it's almost dry. Black is a good choice for Imperial cockpit base colors, because if you watch in the movies, you'll notice that the cockpits of all the TIE fighters are always painted a charcoal gray or black, and at this scale, you want to have it pretty dark in there. So black is a good start, and gloss black enables you to see the details clearly. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It depends on your preference, I guess. So let's start with the rest of the detail painting. I'm going to start with silver and start painting these details. Most of the details are going to be in the bottom of the command pod and this thing right here, whatever it's called. And you want to load up your brush, the long one, and start picking out all the details with silver. Just a touch to the surface will be enough to suggest that it is a silver component. I happen to like silver on gloss black because it the gloss black gives it a real nice shiny surface to get the most out of it, out of the color that you chose in silver. Silver needs a really nice gloss surface in order to look the best. And I'm using silver instead of aluminum for the majority of these buttons, because I want them to be rather visible from the cockpit canopy. So I'm just gonna go through here and pick out some details in silver. Maybe this thing back here is silver. That button right there, maybe. A little bit there, a little bit there. Get some symmetry in there. And this stuff down here on the bottom may not be visible. I'm going to may not be visible. I'm going to be a little bit careless with it because I want it to be a little bit more visible. Get a suggestion that there's something going on down there. And now that's done, now I'm going to switch to this. Painting the front of the back side of this is kind of important because it allows you to see it from the cockpit hatch up here. Now all along the wall over here, there's some details, little bitty ones. Now I don't want to get those. Well, I'm going to be more careful with those. I'm going to dry brush them. I'm going to do that by taking a piece of paper, toilet paper, and running my brush over it. You need to get it pretty dry for this. And use my finger as a. I'm going to see just how dry it is. It's pretty dry. And then I'm just going to lightly go over these with my brush from the back side. because this way, if there's a big impact, as in you know, a big blob of paint, it's less likely to be seen this way if you go from back to front as opposed to front to back. Uh oh. There was a little bit of gloss paint that I didn't see, a glob of it that was not dry. But that's okay. I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to switch colors. I'm going to switch now from silver to white. White is good for some buttons. It's kind of a color used for normal operational buttons. I'm going to use it mainly on the consoles, mainly on the armrests. And I'm thinking that one right there would look good in white. And that one. And finally that one. You don't want too many of these, you don't have to paint too many different things white. I'm actually going over some of the silver details I painted with white. And I'm going to do that on the front of this, the back side of this thing right here. It's easier to come in from the bottom, I think, on this piece. You don't have to be too very careful because it's not going to be that visible. Just hit a couple details with it. And I think that might be enough right there. Okay, and finally, I'm going to clean my brush. I use this stuff right here. Alclad's brand of airbrush cleaner. It's $3 a bottle, but it lasts forever because it's very, very hot for paint remover. Which is also a reason why you never want to let it get in contact with clear plastic, because it will fog it. And look at there, my brush is completely clean with just a little swish of the with a little swish in there. And I of course wiped it on the towel to get rid of the thinner, so that it wouldn't take up the paint I've already applied. And now let's go for some red. Red, you want to be really you want to be kind of timid with your red. Red stands out, and it's really only used for emergency buttons and that sort of thing. So you want to be careful as to where you apply it. I like to, you know, I'm not trying to tell you how to paint your cockpits, but this is kind of a good, I think it's a good strategy. I like to paint buttons that are fairly close to where my hands would be resting with red. The ones on the armrest are a good place. Those are right there. And maybe that one right in the middle there. There's a hair. You gotta be careful with hairs, especially if you're like me and your hair comes out sometimes. And a couple dots here and there. And maybe some in here. Sorry about that. And yeah, red. Yeah, you want to be careful where you put red, because it needs to be because it's a really bright color. In fact, actually, right here is a good spot on either side of this to kind of suggest these are you know, the gunnery controls. Well, I'm going to finish up this cockpit. I've already taken way too much time on this. And then I'm going to assemble it, test for the LEDs, and get it going.